The story of the United States of America is a tale of hope, struggle, and triumph. It's a story about people from all over the world coming to a new land, seeking freedom and opportunity. This journey began in the 17th century, when European settlers, mainly from England, began arriving on the shores of North America. These early colonists faced many hardships, including harsh weather, unfamiliar terrain, and conflicts with Native American tribes. Life in the colonies was hard work. People farmed the land, built homes, and created communities. Over time, 13 distinct colonies emerged along the Atlantic coast, each with its unique character and economy. The southern colonies relied heavily on agriculture, particularly tobacco and cotton, cultivated by enslaved Africans. The New England colonies, with their rocky soil and long coastlines, focused on fishing, shipbuilding, and trade. As the colonies grew, so did their desire for self-governance. The British government imposed taxes and regulations that many colonists found unfair. They believed in the right to have a say in their own affairs. This growing tension between the colonies and Great Britain would eventually erupt into revolution. The year 1773 marked a turning point in the relationship between Great Britain and the colonies. The Boston Tea Party, a protest against British tea taxes, ignited a firestorm of anger on both sides of the Atlantic. The British government responded with harsh measures, further alienating the colonists and pushing them closer to the brink of rebellion. In 1775, the simmering tensions between Great Britain and the 13 colonies finally boiled over into armed conflict. The American Revolutionary War began with battles at Lexington and Concord, Massachusetts. Colonial militiamen, dubbed Minutemen for their readiness to fight at a moment's notice, clashed with British troops, marking the beginning of a long and bloody struggle for independence. The American colonists, though inexperienced in warfare compared to the mighty British Army, were determined to fight for their freedom. Led by General George Washington, a charismatic Virginian planter, the Continental Army faced incredible challenges. They were often outnumbered, outgunned, and undersupplied. Despite these hardships, the Americans persevered, inspired by the ideals of liberty and self-government. The Declaration of Independence, adopted on July 4, 1776, boldly declared that all men are created equal and endowed with certain unalienable rights, including life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. This document became a beacon of hope for revolutionaries around the world. After years of fighting, the Americans, with crucial support from France, finally secured their victory at the Battle of Yorktown in 1781. The British surrendered, recognizing the independence of the United States of America. The newly formed nation faced the daunting task of building a government that could unite 13 diverse colonies under a common purpose. Following the victory over Great Britain, the newly independent United States faced the daunting task of forming a government. The first attempt, under the Articles of Confederation, proved too weak to effectively govern the fledgling nation. Recognizing the need for a stronger central government, delegates from the states convened at the Constitutional Convention of 1787. The framers of the Constitution, led by figures like James Madison, Alexander Hamilton, and Benjamin Franklin, engaged in months of intense debate and compromise. They ultimately crafted a remarkable document that has stood the test of time, establishing a system of government based on separation of powers, checks and balances, and federalism. The Constitution created 3 branches of government: legislative, executive, and judicial, each with its own distinct powers and responsibilities. This system ensured that no single branch could become too powerful, safeguarding the liberties of the people. The Bill of Rights, the first 10 amendments to the Constitution, further guaranteed fundamental rights such as freedom of speech, religion, and the press. Under the leadership of George Washington, the first president, the United States began to establish itself as a nation. The early republic faced numerous challenges, including internal divisions, economic struggles, and conflicts with European powers. However, the young nation persevered, expanding westward, developing its economy, and solidifying its place on the world stage. Section 4. A Nation Divided, the American Civil War. The issue of slavery cast a long shadow over the United States from its very beginnings. As the nation expanded westward, the debate over slavery intensified, dividing the country along geographical and ideological lines. The northern states, with their industrializing economies, increasingly viewed slavery as morally wrong and economically inefficient. The southern states, heavily reliant on slave labor for their agricultural system, fiercely defended the institution as essential to their way of life. By the mid-19th century, the tensions over slavery reached a boiling point. The election of Abraham Lincoln, a Republican opposed to the expansion of slavery in 1860, proved to be the catalyst for secession. 11 southern states seceded from the Union, forming the Confederate States of America. In 1861, the American Civil War erupted, pitting brother against brother in a bloody conflict that would claim the lives of over 600,000 Americans. The war tested the very fabric of the nation, challenging its founding principles of liberty and equality. The Civil War was a watershed moment in American history, marking the end of slavery and the preservation of the Union. Lincoln's Emancipation Proclamation, issued in 1863, declared the freedom of slaves in Confederate territories, transforming the war into a fight for human liberation. After 4 years of brutal conflict, the Confederate forces surrendered in 1865, ending America's deadliest war. Section 5. Industrial Growth and Social Change, the Late 19th Century. Following the tumultuous Civil War and the abolition of slavery, the United States embarked on a period of rapid industrialization and westward expansion. The late 19th century witnessed an unprecedented boom in industry, fueled by technological innovations, abundant natural resources, and a growing workforce. The rise of railroads connected the vast expanse of the nation, facilitating the transportation of goods and people. New industries such as steel, oil, and finance emerged, transforming the American economy and creating immense wealth for some. However, this period of economic growth also brought about significant social change and challenges. Millions of immigrants seeking a better life flocked to the United States from Europe and Asia. This influx of new arrivals fueled industrial growth but also led to overcrowded cities, labor unrest, and social tensions. The late 19th century also saw the rise of powerful corporations and industrialists, sometimes referred to as robber barons by their critics. These industrial giants amassed vast fortunes, often at the expense of workers' rights and fair competition. In response to these inequities, labor unions emerged, fighting for better wages, safer working conditions, and an 8-hour workday.